All right, this is a first look at the retail edition of Oros. And so just first to inspect the box, we have the front side, all of the sides of the box. We've got some that are horizontal, some that are vertical, and each one has its own unique artwork. So however somebody wants to set it up on their bookshelf, they have a lot of options. The back of the box is really engaging, beautiful artwork. It has the whole thing all set up, so it just looks really interesting. A great little description. We included some little helpful things about what type of a game it is and all of the component list. Pretty nice. Okay, so let's open this thing up. On the inside, the first thing we see is the rule book. Now, the rule book is printed on a really nice, thick weight of paper, and then it's coated with a satin aqueous coating. So it just has this really soft, tactile feel. It feels very substantial, very high quality. It adds a lot of trust to, I think, players when they pick something up and they're like, wow, yeah, this is well considered. And then as you go through this, you'll notice all of the artwork is rendered. So it's not just the flat artwork, but we actually took the time to compose these and render them in 3D. And so you have all the shadows, the depth, the lighting. They look so rich. They're all at like really interesting angles. So you can see all of the pieces and it feels very real. It just looks so stunning and very thorough rule book. I have an entire section dedicated to the automa. So if you're playing solo or with two players, we have an entire thing where we introduce additional game variants. And so different ways that you can set the map up to start the game off that add completely different challenges. So once you've played a few times, you can start playing with different setups. We also have really interesting things in here like the side quests, because throughout the whole box are a whole bunch of hidden items. Think of it as like a giant Where's Waldo. There's stuff hidden all over the place. So there's just so many little activities too for people as they're waiting for their friends to show up for game night. They can start hunting around. We have an entire section in here for achievements, things you can do for solo, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player, and also just like a whole bunch of different things to do while you're playing the game that, again, they just give you different ways to play or different things to consider as you're playing that just add a whole lot of depth to the game. And then on the back of the rule book is a symbol reference guide. So for players who are new to the game, it's as simple as you flip the rulebook over and you'll have a really quick cheat sheet to say, okay, well, what does that symbol mean? There you go, you have it. And if you need more explanation, you can always just jump in here and read more about it. But quick little symbol reference guide for everybody makes it learning the game a whole lot easier and playing the game for new players a lot easier. The next thing that we see in here are the player mats. Now, the way the player mats are produced, look at the color on those things. This game has such incredible table presence. It just like pops right off of the table. It's so fun. And the way these are created is a really thick sheet, and then they are laminated with a matte laminate. So they have this really soft touch to them. They feel very hefty and very substantial, even though they're just they're still bendable. But as you can see, you can hold it with one hand on the corner. It still lays completely flat because it has some real substance to it. It feels really, really nice. And just visually, the color is fantastic on these things. They're printed front and back. So the front side is for the players as they're playing. And if you ever are using the automa, all 4 of the player mats flip over and they come with their own deck of cards. And so technically there are 4 automa that come in this box that you can play against. There's a lot of different ways that you can mix and match those automa to change the way that you're playing the game and up the challenge of them. And so each of the automa is ranked slightly differently. You notice this one says it's friendly, but when you get to someone like Fire, it's ranked very aggressive. He's a very aggressive automa. So each one of them are unique and different. All you have to do is flip the thing over and set it up for the automa side. Anyway, really nice. And then in here, these are all of our punch boards. So the first punch board to take note of is the Sacred Site one. It has all the sacred sites for each one of the demigods. You notice that each one of them has unique artwork. In addition to its color, the artwork also helps people differentiate and to know that it's theirs. But it also adds a lot of flavor to the game itself. It's really beautiful. These are little demigod tokens that are alternates to the standees, but these are the standees, and there's little stands that those things can stand up on. This is the first player token, and it has an advanced variant on the back side of it. And then these are these foresight tiles. These help players that are new to the game to help plan out their next turn while everyone else is taking their turn. So We have that, and we have all of the tiles. These also have the foresight tiles in the middle, but these are all of the land tiles that are used throughout the game. And if you'll notice, even though there's 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and there are mountains, every single tile in the entire game is unique. It has unique artwork on it, and these tiles are drawn as one big piece of artwork. We'll see that on the inside of the box. You can actually put these tiles back together like a puzzle. So really fun, unique artwork for all those. Underneath that is our Ascension track. So the Ascension track is printed just like the player mats. It's laminated with a matte laminate, and it has a backside. So if you want to play a longer, more complex 4-player game, you can flip it over and play it that way. But the front side is the one that most people will be playing on. It's a 1 to 4 player side, and it's for your average game. And then underneath that, you'll notice that there's this inset tray here. There's a spot up here, so once you've punched out all of the tiles, they just line up right here, and so it's really easy for players to organize those things and then pull them out as they need them. But then there's also a spot here that holds the map in place, and that acts as a little bit of a lid to hold all of the little pieces, the wooden pieces, and the components underneath it. Now the map itself, look at this thing. It's a nice, heavyweight, thick map. It lays out really nice and flat. Look at that. Really, really beautiful. And it has a small map on the front side. And for those who become more familiar with the game, you can flip it over. It has a large version of the map. And so a lot of things you can do with this game. A lot of different ways to play it. All right, there's that. And then you start to see the artwork that's popping in here. We'll get to that. So we have all of the pieces here. So we have the stands for the standees. Here are all the volcanoes. The volcanoes are all screen printed. They're all different colors. And then there's 1s, 2s, 3s here, and 4s. And the pieces themselves also slowly get larger, right? So the 1s are a lot smaller. The 4s are a lot bigger. So visually they're getting bigger. The color's changing. And then it's also written right on there what number it is. We have all of the wisdom caps, and these wisdom caps are a custom shape. Let's add again to like just that ownability and the flavor of the game. And then we have the follower pieces. And what's fun with these follower pieces, they are screen printed front and back. And you see they have little faces and fun things on there. And each one of the colors has a different screen print. So the artwork is unique for each one of the players. Again, just adding one more layer of that detail, that flavor that people love when they get a new game and they say, oh, wow, every detail has been considered here. All right, so here we have, these are the Automa cards. So inside this one shrink wrap deck are 4 decks of cards. There are 12 cards for each Automa. And so there's one for all 4 of the demigods. And every box comes with a score pad for people to take score, and it's printed front and back to add to the length, that the amount of time that you can play that with. And then inside here, you notice that there's this piece of artwork, and it adds this really nice flavor when you open this up. It's like, oh wow, this feels so good. But this is also kind of a practical little thing, because this is the map to all of these land tiles. Like I said, the tiles are drawn as one big piece of artwork, very carefully drawn, so the die line lines up perfectly to have the right land edges and the right water edges. But you can take these tiles, punch them all out, and then try to stick them back together to create this. So another little fun activity that you can point at and say, hey, there's a lot inside this box. But there you go. That is a first look, sneak peek inside the retail box of Oros.